There we go. Welcome to the locker room for our Sunday edition, and welcome to Alaska and to Reagan on the show. Get your comments coming in, guys. We're only here for an hour today, so we'll speak at double the next speed. So, for Alaska's benefit, we're going to skim over the Command game. Yes, no, we're not. Zagreb, I've got to speak about that, Alaska. And yeah, so we're here until 4 o'clock. Get your comments coming in. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and well, Twitter. It's called X now, and also Twitch, whatever that is. Let's just dive right into the games then. First game was taking place at Tynecastle this afternoon between Rangers and Hearts. Rangers won 3-1 against Hearts. And believe it or not, two own goals in the game. I've never saw that in my puff, but there you go. The game going on now, Alaska. I don't know if you saw any of the games so far at St Mirren against Hibs, half time 0-0.
I haven't seen it at all, I must admit. I mean, I've had a look to see what they said about it, and it doesn't appear to be the world's best game of football, but I think that's a really hard one to call. I mean, I watched the Rangers game. I thought that was actually quite an entertaining game, but as regards Hibs St Mirren, I genuinely think you toss a coin on that. I think it's one of these ones where somebody will make a mistake. It's probably 3-0 somebody went out because we haven't actually looked at it for the last 5 minutes.
So Reagan's actually got the game on. Hibs St Mirren against Hibs Reagan, and not a very kind of entertaining game. I saw the first 45 minutes, but I mean I must admit the park's in a bit of a mess.
Yeah, it is a bit of a mess, but I mean, it's a big game for both of these teams because speaking to Alistair off air, I still feel like there's a lot of teams that can finish third in the table. If you look at the Highbees, they're playing Celtic next week, so they'll be hoping to try and win this week because I fully expect Celtic to go and get 3 points. And they'll be hoping that they can get 3 points today because as we'll go on to later, that'll put Hibs 1 point behind Aberdeen in third place. So I think in terms of that, it'll be interesting to see.
Of course, we'll keep you up to date in the game between now and 4 o'clock. Hibs St Mirren now, Hibs now half time score. Let's go on to one of the bizarre games of the season, Alaska Rangers against Hearts. And I know that you're a Haskellin offset Johnson, but I mean, I know that you know your facts about the game, and I'm dying to know if there's anybody scored a hat trick for the opposite team.
Honest answer is I don't know, but I'm sure they will have done. I may say I think that's more goals than Jamie McCart scored for St Johnstone when he played for us. But he was unfortunate with the first one. Second one was an absolute belter. It was a great finish, but the first one we was really unfortunate with. I genuinely don't know. I'm sure somebody will have done, Michael. I'm trying to think any Saints player that scored a couple of own goals, or indeed anybody else I've seen a couple of own goals. There'll be somebody somewhere scored 3 own goals without a shadow of doubt. But I don't know where it is. Sorry. After that big build-up too.
Yeah, no, exactly. I'm just thinking Robbie's comment there at some Anson. I can't really do two things at the one time before anybody comes in with that comment. Robbie on YouTube, he is at the game actually, St Mirren and Hibs. He says he can't hear us over the halftime music. Well, Robbie, tell them it can turn it down. We are more important than the music at St Mirren Park, Jerry Rafferty and all that. But it's been a positive half for the buddies. Ref not having a good time of it. Surprise, surprise. We just need to take our chances in the second half. So we'll keep you up to date and enjoy the second half, Robbie. And hopefully the Saints win for you. St Mirren, Alaska, sorry. I should have clarified that there. Back to the game at Tynecastle, Reagan. What do you make? What do you make of this? Because if Hearts took their chances, they could have won 3 or 4-0.
They had a lot of chances in the first half. Like that, is it Kabangu? He had 3 or 4 brilliant chances. There was one where he was through 1-on-1 with Butland, and all he has to do is put it the opposite side. He puts it straight at Butland. Butland makes a good save, and then there's one where all he needs to do is make contact with the ball, and he doesn't make contact. There was quite a few chances for Hearts, but yeah, I mean, fair play to Rangers. They had a big reaction after that big win for Queen's Park, as I'm sure many others have spoken about. I mean, it was absolutely outrageous. It was probably one of the best shocks in Scottish football that we've seen for a very long time. I don't know what else I has to say on that, but I mean, I didn't expect it. I know I was on here last Friday talking about could possibly Doug Fairman go to Aberdeen and win, but I didn't expect Queen's Park to go to Ibrox. And to be honest with you, Alistair and Michael, I felt like it was just. I didn't think Queen's Park were troubled by Rangers that much. Like,
no, I thought that. Oh, I thought that Rangers would win because let's be honest, Rangers at Ibrox against the Championship team, you expect them to win. Biggest shock, I would say Darvel beating Aberdeen was probably bigger because Darvel are much, much further down the food chain. I think we've got to remember that Queen's Park are actually a Championship side, whereas Darvel weren't even in the league. I'm old enough to remember Berwick Rangers against Rangers. Now, that was a cataclysmic shock.
that's a very good word to answer.
And actually, I used to live along the road from, what was his name? The Rangers player who got the bullet after that game, George somebody, can't mind anyway, because he was the fall guy. But no, to go back to the Rangers Hearts game, it was a good game of football. It was, I mean, despite what Robbie says, and obviously he's got a dog in the fight, it was a better football match than the one at St Mirren's just now. So on that basis, as a neutral looking at it, yeah, lots of chances, lots of opportunities. Rangers took it. I mean, the goal that Rangers actually scored. I mean, Cherny, who I think is their best player, he gets a really lucky break of the ball, but then he just finishes it really, really well. And I think going back to what you said, Reagan, that's the kind of difference when you get those chances. If you finish them, then you've got a goal, and then you've got something to defend. And of course, that made it 2-0. Sorry, 2-1. 2-1. Bigger pardon. Sorry. Right.
Yeah, I mean, when Rangers goal got early goal, it was ruled out for VAR. Reagan, John Suter, and you think, well, an ex-Jambo coming back to haunt his team in Valentine's weekend, but it wasn't to be. But and then I thought Hearts kicked on and with the better team for the first half. But I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I think you would argue the piece that Hearts were the better team for maybe 75 minutes of that game.
I think they were the most the team that were created the most chances. As much as Rangers scored their 3 goals, I didn't really feel as if they were really creating that much. Obviously, I thought Dessa's come on again and made a good impact. I don't know if you've seen it, Michael, but I think Graham asked the guys that behind the whistle on X about potential penalty the Hearts should have had. And I don't know why that wasn't a penalty. You know, there was 2 hands on the back. I know Neil and Ian Crocker said at the time that from looking back at replays, that it was a definite penalty, but they didn't see it at the time of play. But yeah, I just feel like that was a definite penalty, and that could have changed the match there if Hearts would have got that penalty. But it's by the by now, you know.
I think it's Chris Boyd on VAR that did
it. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I was got. Yeah, sorry.
On you go.
No, I was just going to say that Reagan's right there at the top of the show when they said that if you don't take your chances, you can't win the game. It's a bit like, going into raffle and you haven't buy a raffle ticket, basically. I mean, that Cabangu was that. I mean, that's the first game I've seen him, Alaska, for 90 minutes. And I've only saw him in highlights and he put himself about and he put himself about today, but I mean, he should have got a hat trick today. Like, and I know they were saying that Jack Butland was a man of the match for. They gave it to him on the TV, but all the shots were straight at him.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I'm looking at the stats, and you look at the number of shots that they had between them and the amount of possession they had. So you've got Hearts with 21 shots, Rangers with 15. But I think the problem with this is that it's like the XG stuff. I think these things have been introduced partly, I think, because the media want to actually make this more like American football, so they've got more to talk about.
Right.
It doesn't matter. What matters is the score at the end of the game. I mean, I can remember going to a game at Easter Road way back in the day when it was the old Easter Road, and we got absolutely battered for 80 minutes. Lindsay Hamilton saved a penalty. I don't know who took it for Hibs, but it was a good save. I remember it was snowing. And then with 10 minutes to go, we had the only attack we ran the whole game, and Vinnie Arkin scored with a header, and we won 1-0. And it was an absolute travesty. But the history books show that we won 1-0. Nobody remembers the fact that Hibs totally dominated that. So, yes, I think the key thing about that I would like to stress is it was a good game of football, much more entertaining to watch, because both teams were actually trying to play football and get the ball forward.
Yeah, that's what I was going to just about to say, because sometimes when you watch a big team play against Rangers or Celtic, they sort of play part 10 buses, as Michael would say on the show. But I think Hearts, they had a clear plan to try and get behind Rangers. And there was I don't know if you remember it, Michael, but there was a stage in the first half where the two strikers for Hearts were working really well. Shankland played a really good ball through to Wilson, and then they probably should have scored again. But I mean, I think in terms of Hearts, they can only take positives to this. And I thought Dessers really came on and changed the match for Rangers as well. As much as he didn't score, but he really contributed to that third Rangers goal.
Yeah, I mean that Dessers goal, Alaska, reminded me of Ida in the Champions League game against the Young Boys. Obviously, he put press on the I can't remember who it was for Hearts. He put press on them, and they scored their own. Yeah, McCart, and they scored their own goal, and that was a bit like Ida for me. The Celtic kind of like Young Boys game, that Ida put pressure on the Young Boys defence, and obviously it was their own goal. But I suppose like you've got to argue the point that Alaska, like, he was there in the right place to help McCart to put the ball in the back of the net.
Do you know what? You were talking about own goals and many own goals you've seen. And it's funny, at the game yesterday, before it started, I was chatting to some of my mates and saying, can't remember the last time we scored an own goal. And that's probably because I'm just trying to blank it out of my mind. But you look at them and you think, sometimes they're unavoidable. Like McCart's first one, nothing you could do about it. You know, I mean, Gordon makes a good save. He's got no time to react, you know. He was clearly trying to knock the ball past the post. And if it was a striker, you'd have said it was a good finish. But you're right. If you get the ball in the box and you put the pressure on defenders, they will make mistakes and you've got more of a chance of scoring. If you pass the ball around your own penalty area for 15 minutes and come up with 67% possession, doesn't mean you're going to win the game. You've got to actually have the ball at the end of the park to do that. And you're right, that's what they did. Put pressure on the defender. There's more chance of making a mistake. He's not as good a player as you are. That's why you're a forward, why he's a defender. And then you score a goal. Dead simple.
Difficult week for Rangers, Reagan, but I'm just trying to think of the positives out the game today. I think the only positives would be Rangers won the game, albeit 2 own goals. But I'm trying to remember, and Rangers didn't have a lot of shots to go in that game. Like they had Raskin shot in the first half. Charlie shot as Alistair said, in the second half, out with that, the 2 own goals. But I mean, I can't remember that Rangers kind of like working Craig Gordon a lot today.
No, I don't think they did. I think the most important thing for them is that they've got the 3 points and the 12 games to go. They're 13 points behind. They probably know the league's very much done, to be honest with you. But it's all about getting that respectability back after last week. I know that Scottish was the only sort of trophy that they're going to win this season, because as much as I've got positivity about Scottish football and that, I don't know about you guys, but I don't see Rangers winning the Europa League. I think it'll be probably Ajax or Man United or someone like that. I don't think it'll be Rangers. So,
of course, Hearts got the goal in the early part of the second half. That was got by Schweinsteiger, very good Scottish man there. And you're thinking, well, game on here, but obviously McCart had kind of the other ideas, and before you know it, the game was over. But I mean, let's speak about the penalty, Alistair. What was your take on it?
Honestly, I genuinely tend to, well, what do I think? If it was my team, I'd wanted a penalty. Let's put it like that. That's probably the best way of putting it. If it was against my team, then I'd probably be trying to come up with reasons why it wasn't. What I do wonder, and this is taking it a stage further, we obviously know there's the monthly roundup of William Collum telling us that we've got stuff wrong, or not we've got stuff wrong, but the referees have got stuff wrong. And I kind of think that's going to be another one that's added to that. I do think, I know this is going back over old ground, but Dundee United pulling out of the panel and being involved in that, I think that we need to have some more light shone into that, because we still don't know who's actually on it. Or hearing that it's journalists whose knowledge of the laws of the game can be written on a postage stamp. It's just, there's not enough transparency around all these things. So people look at it, they'll go, John Beaton's the referee, and they'll go, of course it's not a penalty, you know? In the same way that a friend of mine, going back to what Regan was saying about the Queen's Park game, he was listening to it, you put the radio on in the 97th minute, and he said, of course it's a penalty to the Rangers, because everybody jokes about that. It was a stonewall penalty as it happened, but the keeper saved it. So, if it was my team, I'd have wanted it. If it was against my team, I would have said, nah, it was no. I'll give you an example. Last week against St Mirren, Dre Wright, I'm sure you talked about that. It was, at the game, I thought, that's never a penalty. When I saw it back, I thought, well, actually, we got away with one there. And teams do get away with them. They do, because of human error. And I go back to, just get rid of VAR and accept there's human error, because there's still going to be human error even when you go to VAR, and even when you go to the panel, you're getting decisions 3-2. So 2 people are disagreeing with 3. There's no definitive. It's not actually clear and obvious what they're actually deciding on, because they can't make their own minds up themselves. So just get rid of it, and we'll have a much better game.
I think the big thing for me, though, Alice, that wasn't as a Scottish football viewer, I think the big thing for me, for VAR not to even look at it is beyond a joke.
Yeah, that I can't disagree with that, Regan. I mean, these are the kind of ones where, unfortunately, the conspiracy theorists then get all up on their high horse and go, it's because it's Rangers. Now, I've seen all sorts of pieces of research and things which purport to show that Rangers get penalties and other teams don't, and all that kind of stuff. But it's all very much focused on the Old Firm. What nobody ever actually does is look at other teams against the Old Firm and see what they get. The research is always biased around the Old Firm, and it's obviously biased in one direction or t'other. Nobody ever looks at St Mirren and St Johnstone and even Aberdeen and thinks, well, what happened to them in that game there? Why did they not get a penalty? And I go back to a game which you guys as Celtic fans might remember. We got beaten by Celtic at McDermott, and we just had what looked like a stonewall penalty turned down, and Celtic were then given a penalty when the ball was crossed and it hit one of our defenders on the backside. And the referee phoned Tommy Wright the next day to apologise, to say he hadn't slept that night because he'd seen it back and it was a shocking decision. So you've got to get on with it. Now, I don't think the referee, it was what's his name, Craig. I can see him. Yeah, Craig Thompson. Thanks, Michael. Yeah, he phoned Tommy, right? He said, "I've got to apologise." He said, "I didn't sleep last night," and Tommy said, "Neither did I." So they had a laugh about it, and you kind of get on with it. But there's a lot of decisions which people think go against their teams because of the wee teams. So that was a very long-winded exposition to basically say that, yeah, VAR should have got involved. I'm staggered it didn't. And I think I go back to my earlier point, we need to have more sunlight because that's the best disinfectant there is. Why, if it didn't get involved, why not? Why don't we do what we do in Spain? So in Spain, I'm pretty sure that within about an hour of the game, they actually put out live what the VAR said. Why can't we do that? That would be, then fans, okay, they might not agree, but at least if you're going to have VAR, then at least you know what people are saying and you can actually go, well, hang on a second. Okay, I now see why they did it, you know? Or actually, no, I still think it's a pile of mints.
So final score today at Tynecastle, Hearts 1, Rangers 3. Let's go on to the Celtic game yesterday at Celtic Park. Celtic against Bayern Munich coming up on Tuesday night, but before then, Reagan, they had to take care of Dundee United, and I thought it was a very comfortable performance by Celtic yesterday.
To be honest with you, Michael, I was a little bit disappointed with Dundee United because I was expecting them to attack. Sorry, guys. I was expecting Dundee United to attack the match more, but they didn't really seem to really have much of a threat. But I think in terms of Celtic really didn't really get out of second or third gear. They didn't really had to work too hard for it, Michael, because Celtic got off to a great start, obviously, and then obviously Jota gets that second goal and people are really happy about it and stuff like that, and fair play to them, they're entitled to enjoy it. But I felt like as a spectacle, it was sort of over after that second goal because I didn't really see too much from Dundee United. Obviously, they had a few chances, but they were straight at Schmeichel. Yeah, but to me, Michael, that match was a really disappointing watch. To be honest with you, I think Celtic strolled it from start to finish. But yeah, I mean Celtic, 13 points clear with 12 games to go. I think we can say that the league is virtually over.
I think if you were Stevie Clark, Alistair, every time you watch Callum McGregor, you wish you would persuade him to play for Scotland, because obviously we've got two massive games coming up and next month as well. But I mean, it's funny, Alistair, since he's actually retired from Scotland, I think he's actually scored more goals from Celtic for Celtic this season. And I don't know about you, Alistair, but looking at his goal, I was a bit of Paddy McCourt about that goal where he beat kind of like two men. Yeah,
it was. I mean, I saw Jim Goodwin's comments after the game, and he was absolutely right, because you kind of think somebody's got to tackle him, because he does. You're right. Paddy McCourt's a very good example. When he waltzes past him, then plants him. You know, it was a very, very good goal from an attacking point of view. From a defensive point of view, somebody should have closed them down. Same with Jota's goal as well. I mean, Goodwin made a comment about that and said both goals were similar from their perspective. They should have defended them much better. But I would love to see him back playing for Scotland. I was chatting to Reagan before the show about the level of Scottish football, and you've got Jamie McCart coming back from England, where he's not succeeded. And we get players coming back, so they just don't make it down there. And we're bringing in guys, you know, that people like Bristol Rovers are turning down, and they're coming from the B teams of Charlton, and that's the level we're at. Whereas I think Callum McGregor could actually have gone to the Premiership in England and been an absolute star.
Really?
He is that good. And in some ways, it's a pity he didn't, because I think, okay, not if you're a Celtic fan, but from the point of view of Scottish football, it used to be the case that every big club in England had some really good Scots. You know, you've got Souness and Dalglish and people like that. But Man United had, you know, Martin Buchan going back in the day, Dennis Law, for goodness sake, who we just buried this week. And there's virtually none now. You've got Ryan Christie, you've got Robertson at Liverpool. Other than that, they're all down the leagues, you know. You've got Ryan Porteous, Watford. He's just been put on loan. They obviously don't fancy him. That's the kind of level we're at, which is why.
What a goal!
Oh, sorry, we've got a goal at St Mirren.
No, it's
Is
not.
it
A goal. It's not a goal at St Mirren Hibs. It's a goal at Anfield. What?
All right.
Well, that we league down there, right? Okay, yeah,
Well,
never.
That doesn't matter then.
Yeah.
Who was it for, Ryan?
Matthias Cunha and Wolverhampton Wanderers have just scored a beauty. It's 2-1 now.
Oh, right, okay. But no, to go back to the point, Michael, Callum McGregor, he bolts through the defence, and somebody should. Okay, he's in the penalty box, so people are reluctant to try and tackle him, but yeah, he's a really, really good player.
And Adam Eager scored a brilliant goal as well, Regan. I'm trying to remember, it's been a weird weekend in the Premiership, right? Because we've had 2 own goals today by Chris McCart, right? Maybe Rangers will sign them in the summer, I'm not sure. But also, I can't remember being at any game, and all 3 goals were better than each other.
Yeah, Michael, I'm just laughing there. You see Chris McCart scored. I think Chris McCart retired about 20 years ago.
Oh no, yeah. I made that mistake. Yeah. It's a
Jimmy.
Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a shame for him. I mean, like Alistair said, I think he was part of the St John's team that won the.
He was, yeah.
He won the 2 trophies, so he would have been home to come back up to Scotland and do very well. But I would be interested to see what Graham's got to say. But I don't think he started off too well. But yeah, hopefully he can try and get back to who he was before, because like Alistair will know, he won 2 trophies with St Johnstone, so he must have been doing something right there before. So
yeah, he was playing with very good defenders at that time, because we actually had a good team then. But I think he's a perfectly capable player. I think he'll probably turn out to be a good signing for Hearts, because I think he's still young enough. And the level at which he's playing at, okay, if you're playing Celtic and Rangers, that's a different kettle of fish. But for most other teams, well, let's see how he gets on next weekend when they play us. I mean, that'll be an interesting one, you know.
Before we move on to your game, Alistair, and that was a good segue into the game, and you're like, oh no, I've got to go now. Big game on Tuesday night, guys. What do you think? Like, I think if you ask any of Celtic fans before the game, Regan, they would have took a 2-1 defeat to Bayern Munich. I mean, let's be honest, it's going to be a totally different game over there. But I mean, 2-1's not a bad score to go into the second game.
I don't think it is, but I think for Celtic to have a realistic possibility of winning, they had to win that match at Celtic Park. Obviously, they get off to the perfect start on Wednesday at Celtic Park with Nicholas after 20 seconds. So they'd have been hoping that they could have tried to do something there. But I think Alistair will know. I think the big thing, if you look at that game on Wednesday, I don't know if you watched it, Alistair, but even the way that Bayern play the one-touch football, the way they can move, see every one of the players, the big, strong, powerful athletes, every one of them. You know, and we think Celtic are a class above, but these, I don't know if you thought that yourself, Michael, but when you were there watching it, you just see those guys were like basketball players. They were just so tall and athletic and strong. And as much as I would like to watch young go, yeah, Celtic are going to go over there and do well, and 2-1 was okay. I just feel like Celtic had to win that game on Wednesday. I think what will be respectable is if Celtic go over there and they get beat 2-1, then you could say, right, well, that's a positive because they've not went over there and they've not got hammered. You know, so I think in terms of Celtic, it would be a miracle if Celtic go over there and beat them. You know, because Bayern are one of the best teams in the planet. They've probably got the best striker on the planet. But you never know. You never know.
I think if the first leg had been across there and Celtic had lost 2-1 there, that would have been a very, well, obviously better result would have been winning or drawing, but that would have been a result you could take back to Parkhead and think you might have a chance. I think when it's the other way around, then it's more difficult. Plain fact is, as you said, Regan, they're bigger and better. And it's interesting your point about them being bigger because, we tend to sort of think, we've got some really big lads who are playing in Scotland just now. Now, I was very, very reliably informed. Remember Scott McKenna when he was at Aberdeen before he went to Nottingham? Yeah, he was playing for Scotland. He's a big, powerful man. When he went to Nottingham Forest, they looked at him and went, "He's too wee," and they spent quite a lot of time basically doing strength training to build him up because he wasn't big enough for English football.
Yeah, I think you're right, Alex. I think if the first game was away from home, then 2-1 would be a reasonable score. That's why I like to, of any Scottish teams, to be away from home so that you know what to do when you come back. And I know that, Alex, we spoke about millions of times on the show about the financial gap. I mean, let's be honest, Celtic should never be on the same park as Bayern Munich because Bayern Munich has got tens of thousands more money than Celtic. But a one-off game, Alex, anything could happen.
Well, dare I say, it wasn't that long ago. People were sitting in, this show saying, "Yeah, Rangers are going to win against Queen's Park." So you're right. Anything can happen. However, there's a reason why the bookmakers change their car when the ashtrays in the open are full up, and that's because they don't normally get it wrong. So I will be amazed. Amazed if Bayern Munich don't win, probably by 2 goals. So apologies, fans, but I think you're talking about the gap, and one thing which does annoy fans of other Scottish clubs is this thing when Rangers and Celtic go abroad and go on about the gap between them and the other clubs, and everyone goes, "Hang on a minute, guys. You've got a turnover of 100 million at Celtic plus. Other clubs have got a turnover of £5 million. There's no way we should be beating you. There's no way you should be in the same league." And it's actually a problem for Scottish football because the gap between Celtic and Rangers now is so big. And you only very occasionally, every couple of decades, get a Kilmarnock or an Aberdeen or a Dundee United to actually come and challenge that. And
I think that's a very good point you made, Alistair. Even though to then say something else, Rangers should still be beating Motherwell, Ross County, and whoever else would have struggled to beat over a number of years.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. And again, part of the problem is also because you play each other 4 times. If you're playing the same team 4 times statistically, and they've got 4, 5, 10 times the budget, they're going to beat you more often than not. If you're only playing them twice, I do think, and I know all the reasons why this is a different argument, the bigger league. If you're playing Celtic or Rangers once at home, it's your one chance in front of your own fans to actually really go for it. So therefore, you'll absolutely hammer into them. You'll give them a better game, and they've got more chance of winning. Whereas if you're playing them 4 times, you're thinking you're beat before you start.
I think that's why it's good about the Champions League this season, Regan, because you play one time in Skigga, the old format, and once at home and once away. I think I would call that random games this season, Regan, and I like the format.
I think that's true, Michael. And to go back to what Alistair was saying there about being able to play being able to play one type of home. I think that's true, and I think that's something that I spoke about to my pals during lockdown. I mean, remember when during lockdown they were talking about possibly having an extended league? I don't know what you guys thought about that, but I felt like it maybe would be a great thing if we extended the league because. Of course, I love playing Motherwell, but to play Motherwell 4 times a season, it becomes a bit boring after a time.
I couldn't agree more. Now, I know full well the arguments for it is that you can't sell it to TV companies, but the other argument, which you'll get from the media, and obviously Michael is a representative of the media, you've got an opinion on this, but they'll say, well, there's a lot of boring games towards the end of the season. Yes, there is, but you know what? You can actually then start to bring through these youngsters who people want to play, but won't play just now because they're petrified of getting relegated. And actually, in case the media haven't noticed, it's not run for their benefit. It's run for the benefit of the fans. They're the customers. They're the ones who pay to get in. The media obviously are an important part of it, but actually it's for the fans. And I would much rather see, an Ali McCoist come through, Callum Davidson come through. I remember Jim Pearson coming through way back in the 70s, goes to Everton for 100 grand. I think it was, or maybe 80 grand. Those kind of players, I think nowadays wouldn't get a shout. They just wouldn't get a shout, and we've just put this boy, Brodie Dare, down to Fulham for 150 grand, I think it is. He's 16-year-old. He had a trial with Fulham and they wanted him. So we've let him go there. His dad wanted him to go there. McCoist made his debut for St Johnstone at 16, You could never do that nowadays. Now, he's clearly a really good prospect. Otherwise, Fulham wouldn't be looking at him. So that's the kind of things I think you're missing out on. That's one of the I'd like to have that back,
Okay, yeah, sorry.
I just wanted to get Alistair's insight there. Surely the manager and the board get involved in and say, look, there's an opportunity for you to play here, because, surely there's a better chance for that young man to be playing matches in Scottish football and developing.
I'd have thought so, but in that particular case, I think his dad is Jason Dare, if you remember him. So I think his dad wanted him to go down south because he obviously could see I don't know, but I'm guessing he could see the pound signs. We all know that at 16, the chances of making England are pretty low. I mean, Billy Gilmore, obviously, success story, but there's loads of other ones who've gone down who don't make it. Would he been better staying at St Johnstone and maybe getting a game in the next couple of years? Quite possibly, or put him back on loan or whatever. But the chances are he's not going to be playing top-level football for quite a few years yet. Whereas if he stayed here, he might have. And that, again, you go back to the SFA's paper, that 114-page document about how we don't develop enough youth players. They interviewed lots of managers in the SPL, and they all said because the pressure they're under to try not to get relegated.
Okay, let's move on. Incidentally, the Bayern Munich Celtic game, we've got that covered. We'll be on pre-match at 6 o'clock, 07, and then 10 till 11 on Tuesday night. So that was Celtic 3, Dundee United 0. Let's go to, sorry, Alistair. Let's go to Rugby Park. Maybe not to talk about rugby, but talk about the football. And Kilmarnock 1, Kilmarnock 2, St Johnstone 1. Alistair, I was a bit disappointed by obviously you would be a bit disappointed because I don't know if you were at the game, but I was very disappointed about how St Johnstone approached the game.
There's a VAR check at Paisley here for a potential handball for St Mirren.
Oh, we'll come back to that in a minute.
We'll have to talk about the game at Rugby Park.
But I was so disappointed by St Johnstone yesterday. I thought they would get offered a bit more in the game.
We were rubbish. It was one of these kind of games when you need to play well. Dell absolutely outthought Zemo as a manager. He realised that we passed the ball around and he pressed right up onto our penalty box. And the first goal was just a shambles. I mean, you pass the ball to what hangs around, dallies on the ball, gets it taken off him. The boys played in. It was one of these ridiculous ones. And again, I do not understand this because I heard again, it's Talk Sport, so it might not be true, but they said that so far this season, 96 goals have been scored. They didn't say where, I'm guessing probably in England, from people trying to play the ball out of the back. And our manager comes on the Saints TV and says, in fact on the BBC as well, and says, well, when you try and play this brave football, these things happen occasionally. Well, they don't happen if you don't do it. If you try and play it from the back, you're going to get caught once or twice. And if you're St Johnstone at the bottom of the league with a 6-point gap, you're not able to lose any games by stupidity, such as doing that, in my view. So you shouldn't do it. And you'll look at the Rangers and the Hearts game and the Aberdeen, the Dundee game, which we'll come on to, the speed at which they move up the gears and the transition to get the ball forward is totally different. Whereas basically, I was asleep half the time while we were passing the ball around, apart from when I was getting annoyed because we were getting the ball taken off us. We played really badly. Kelly played really, really well. They could have been 3 up at half time, and there'd been no disgrace.
79 minutes going, and Paisley and we're still looking for that goal because it wasn't a handball for St Mirren. So it's still St Mirren now, Hibs now on that game. Yeah, I mean, I just saw the highlights of it. Anyone else not at the game yesterday? Yeah, this guy, and I thought like St Johnson would have maybe put up a bit of a fight, but I mean, all credit. I mean, I might pain you to say this, but all credit to Kilmarnock. They get the job done yesterday.
They were miles better than us. I mean, Killie fans, I know, said that's one of the best they've played this season. And the thing was, they got the tactics right. They suppressed us. We've signed a whole load of midfielders who are all very much the same, who I don't see an awful lot happening there. The boy Kirk up front has gone off the boil. He missed 3 sitters against Hamilton. He missed one which he probably should have scored yesterday, and he was ineffectual. And I think although most fans are behind Simo Valakari, there's 1 or 2 who are like, well, we're still not entirely sure because we're trying to play this ball out from the back. We're playing with 1 striker. We're not really getting any width. Though I'll tell you one thing, the wee boy Duke McKenna who we've got, the winger who looks like he's about 12, he'll entertain people. He can absolutely, you didn't see it in the BBC highlights last night, but he can skip past people for fun. And this is nonsense. He's not Jimmy Johnson or Billy Henderson, but he's that kind of player. He's somebody who actually will beat somebody, then go back and beat them again just for the hell of it. And he's not also lacking a football brain, because you can see he does what he does and then tries to bring people in. He was our best player yesterday. Apart from, Carey came on and scored a good goal, but if you look at even the free kick, we could see it. We were in this away stand, so we're looking right down the pitch. You could see that Fisher, our goalkeeper, was miles too far across. And the moment the boy hit it, we knew it was in. Their third goal, if you saw it back, I think McFadden said that was the goal of the day. I didn't realise at the time. We just thought he'd actually muscled the defender. It was a brilliant bit of skill from Wales. Really good. And on that basis, we're going to get relegated. I mean, you can't keep saying, we keep going, because at the end of the season, you are keeping going, but we're actually going to the championship, And he's got to actually try and find some way to change the pace of the way we play games. Kilmarnock, I've been saying this show all season, Kilmarnock will be fine. They're a really good football team with a good manager. And you can see that,
Did you not feel as though St Johnson turned a wee bit of a corner in terms of like beating Motherwell back-to-back in the cup and the league? And I know I said this to you, maybe I said this to you on the show, or maybe I said this to you off air, about what would you rather win, the cup game or the league game? And you would say the league game. And maybe I would argue the point, Alistair, that no, as a football fan, you would want to win any game you're playing, no matter if it's in Europe, cup football, league football, maybe pre-season friendlies that are a wee bit different, but because that kind of like breeds momentum, especially at home, Alistair, as well.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, if I had the choice, if I had to choose one or t'other, then obviously would have chosen the league. I'd like them to have won both, which they did. We scraped by against a poor St Mirren team who played badly on the day. We got beaten comfortably by Kilmarnock, who were good in the day. We were bad on the day. I just think you look at it and you think it was good football to watch, but now I'm not convinced about it. It's really quite tedious. And when we come on to the other teams, you talked about Motherwell. Well, Motherwell are actually probably in worse form than we are just now. And you're right, confidence.
I did tip them to go down at the start of this season, so I might still be on to a winner here.
Well, Motherwell are Saints.
Motherwell.
I think Motherwell will be all right because they've built up enough points, but I think they are sliding down drastically. And this is probably a good time to talk about Motherwell, by the way, rather than talking about St Johnson, because they got beat by 3 goals and we only got beat by 2. So.
Alistair's trying his best, Craig, isn't he? You've got to give him credit.
He's trying his best to divert for the St Johnson game, but that's fine. I've got in the strap line there, might go Ruthless Ross County beat Motherwell. Like, fair play to them. The past few weeks I've been disappointed that Ross County have been winning, to be honest with you, because I've been wanting a more competitive league. But fair play to them for what they've been doing. They've been going away to some difficult places like Dundee, Aberdeen. They've beat Aberdeen as well. Some people would say that's pretty easy at the moment, but because Aberdeen are not playing too well. But fair play to Ross County.
They've got a good striker who, again, you can see the difference there. Their second goal was a really good piece of football because the pass through for him was absolutely inch perfect. If it was behind him, they'd never have scored. If it was in front, you'd never have scored. It was right on the button. And then his finish was brilliant. And his finish for the first goal was much more opportunistic. So when you've got somebody scoring goals like Hale is, then you've obviously got a chance. And that was the difference between them and Motherwell.
I think last word on the Kilmarnock game before we kind of move on to that game. Alistair, you can come out from behind the couch now. I think we're good to fan of it. Bobby Wales, Reagan, he's going. He's coming up. He's coming up well through the Kilmarnock ranks, and they scored yesterday as well. And I think he played well.
Yeah, I know he signed a contract pretty recently for Kilmarnock. I know he's a big Kilmarnock fan as well, so he'll be hoping to try and stay his claim to be in the team regular. But also he'll be looking to try and, I don't know how young he is. Also, you'll know more than me, but he'll be looking to try and maybe catch the eye of the Scotland under 21s man. Maybe say, is this a possibility for me to get in?
Yeah, I think he's a really good player. I don't know if you watched the Brighton Chelsea game on the Friday night. The James goal. That was stunning. His goal against St Johnstone was just about as good. It wasn't quite such a long ball, but his control to actually take the ball away. Then he got a wee break, to be fair, but it was just a brilliant piece of skill. Plus, the shot he had, which went about 2 inches past the post, deserved the goal as well. So I think Kilmarnock have got a player there that they can sell on for a decent amount of money if he carries on the way he's going. And that's the kind of thing which, if you're a Kilmarnock fan, you don't want to see him go, but you need the money to keep the club going and then bring in other players and keep on developing. And so long as they keep Dell there as a manager, they're fine, because he's a guy who will always keep a team like that playing well and playing entertaining football. Andy Kennedy came back as well yesterday off the subs bench, who's another player who's been missing for them for some time.
There you go. Final score come out to St Johnstone 1, and Alistair, you can come back on the show now. And let's move on now to Motherwell and Ross County. And I think you kind of touched upon this earlier on, guys. I don't know about you, but Ross County.
I'm just going to jump in. Just going to jump in there for a second. There's been a sending off in the St Mirren and the Highways game. The Highways are down to 10 men for a second bookable offence. So we'll see if St Mirren can take advantage on that.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's got a game. I think it is. It's 88 minutes gone, so a few minutes to go in that game, plus stoppage time as well.
Yeah, but I think it'll just be interesting to see if St Mirren can take advantage of the Highways being down to 10 men now.
Yeah, no, it'll be interesting to see how St Mirren bounces back, especially after that dreadful penalty shootout on Monday night. I think that would get penalty kicks stopped in football. Alistair, if you saw that. But anyway, Motherwell and Ross County. Motherwell 0, Ross County 3. Let's talk about Motherwell in a minute, Alistair. But Ross County, I don't know about you guys, but they remind me of Hamilton every season. They always manage to do enough to. And you might hate me for saying this, Alistair, they always do enough to kind of stay up.
They do. They have gone down, obviously, in the last couple of seasons, but come straight back up. And again, they've had a benefactor who put money into them, obviously, round about the turn of the year if they were struggling, brought players in. they're not going to go down because they're taking too many points where you don't necessarily think they'll get them. And okay, Motherwell are in a bit of disarray just now. For them, for Ross County, the critical game is actually in 2 weeks, is their second game after this, because I don't know who they're playing next weekend. We're playing Hearts at home now. If we actually can take anything from that game, I'll be surprised. But the next midweek, we're playing Ross County in Perth. If they beat us then that's them totally safe.
They are playing after next weekend. Ross County are playing Dundee at home.
Oof, that's a real, because Dundee obviously are falling away, despite the fact they played well yesterday. But let's just say if they can beat Dundee, then they beat us, then they're probably top 6.
Rob, Reagan, I was just going to say. Oh, sorry, Reagan.
I was just going to say, I know Alistair's been doing going there, but I've seen Johnson beat Hearts. Then if they beat Ross County, they're way back in it, Alistair.
Oh no, I know, but I'm currently watching a pig flying past the window here, Reagan. So.
Reagan, talk about Motherwell. It's gone from bad to worse because a few weeks ago, obviously St Johnson beat them in the cup and beat them in the league, but also we saw Stuart Kettlewell walking away from the club, and they actually did well to say, look, enough's enough, because my family is taking it every week, and that's why they're not going every game now. But also you go from that and go to play Celtic the next week. They get beat, and then obviously they get booed over the park yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I was listening yesterday to Michael Stewart, who basically had a different take on it after. I don't know if you listened to it, but he was basically saying that if you go to any football, you're going to get people booing. It's a paying customer. It's just the nature of it. But yeah, I mean, obviously Motherwell's got a brand new manager coming in tomorrow, Michael, a man from Greek football. It'll be interesting to see if he can turn things around. I know people have said the comparison that Motherwell have got have taken themselves to the Greek. You know that film back in the day, get me to the Greek. You know.
Yeah. No.
Maybe after the match he'll be going for some Greek food after the games, because there's a lot of Greek food places in Scotland. But yeah, I mean, in terms of Motherwell, they just be hoping that they can get back to some winning ways, because I think in terms of, if you look at Motherwell over the past few weeks, I think the performances have been pretty bad. I mean, and I think, to be honest with you, for Motherwell to be in 5th place, as me and Alistair said earlier, and me and Alistair would be positive, but that probably just tells you about the state of Scottish football at the moment, that Motherwell are sitting 5th, and Motherwell fans are not very happy with how things are going.
Alistair, before we move on to Dundee and Aberdeen, what was your take on Stuart Kettlewell walking away from his job? Do you think that was a right decision for him, and also his mental health as well?
I think it clearly was. I think Stephen Ryside summed up really nicely on social media. He was very, very strong about the people who were saying these things about him, but also stressing very strongly that this is not the majority of the Motherwell fans. And unfortunately, there is in every club. You just go on any club's social media, go on Rangers' social media after Queen's Park, it was in meltdown. You know, you'll find a group of people who are never happy with anything. And therefore, I think Stuart Kettle did a very brave thing, because he'll have been reasonably well paid. You know, he'll probably get some gigs off the media for a bit, but he wasn't prepared to actually accept something that's wrong. And he actually made a stand against it. And I think that's something which is probably useful for Scottish football. I think I've mentioned this before with my SFSA hat on. We did this survey on social media abuse in the women's game. It's horrendous, you know. 80+% of people seeing people being abused on social media, lots of misogyny. None of this is good for us as a society. And I know that sounds a bit preachy, but quite frankly, it's right. You either got to decide whose side are you on here. Do you actually think it's fair that this guy's effectively been hounded out of his job? Okay, it's his decision. or actually go, that's just not right. We've got to find a way to deal with this. And I personally think we've got to find a way to deal with it. It's not good for his mental health. It's not good for his physical health. It's not good for his family. None of these things are good.
Okay, so big win for County yesterday, 1-3 away from home as well. Full credit to Ross County, beating Motherwell, 3-0. Let's move on to the last game of the Premiership weekend, and I think this was one of the better games of the weekend. Reagan, Dundee won, Aberdeen 2. That obviously Aberdeen's 14-1 in-game beating has come to an end. They played well. I mean, first of all, a brilliant support from Aberdeen getting took down to Dundee in the cold Saturday afternoon, but they got the job done well.
Yeah, they did, and obviously there was a few moments in the game, as there always is, for the Aberdeen fans to endure as well. But I think if you asked Aberdeen fans, see, this is my way of looking at it, because I'm always a positive kind of person. So if you'd asked the Aberdeen fans in the middle of February that you're sitting third in the league, if you'd have said to them, they would have said absolute beauty. And if you'd have said to them, you've got a potential chance of being a semi-final of the Scottish Cup and you're playing Queen's Park, that is the perfect chance for Aberdeen to have a very successful season. So I'm being positive in Aberdeen. I think Aberdeen are going to have a fantastic end of the season. They're in the semi-final of the Cup. They're third in the league. And also, the rivals for third place today have both dropped points. So I think in terms of Aberdeen, I think Aberdeen will be fine. I think everything just needs to calm down. But to play devil's advocate to my own question, I think if Jeremy, if he was being realistic about it, he's just very fortunate that he started very well. Because I think if any manager at the top level had a winless run of 14 matches, I think the only man that escaped that was Neil Lennon during lockdown, where the Celtic boards decided to just forget about everything and not address anything. They thought it was lockdown, nobody was there, nobody was bothered too much, and that was what happened. But I think if Aberdeen didn't start too well, then I think the story might have been different. But on a different level, I mean, Dundee, what's happened to them? 6 goals against Hearts, 6 goals against Celtic. So, and then that defeat yesterday, there's got to be questions. Are they now in the dogfight for relegation?
Good afternoon to Paul Donaldson. He's watching the game. He's watching the game. He's watching us, but he was at the game yesterday. Hopefully, you enjoyed the game. Yeah, the wheels has come off the bandwagon a wee bit at Dundee, Alaska.
They have. I mean, they're looking like they might possibly be in the last relegation, in the playoff spot, the way things are going, unless they actually pick up. There was an awful lot of, the word Stramash was invented for an awful lot of the incidents yesterday. There was a...
Sorry, Michael, just it's full time at St Mirren Park, full time, 0-0. Sorry for anybody that was at that game, because it was absolutely rotten.
Good gag for the game.
You'll fight. Robbie will come on in a minute and say it was brilliant, so then we're done by the referee. I mean, if you're an Aberdeen fan, it was worth the price of admission just for that second goal, because when you saw it, he absolutely meant to do it. It was a brilliant goal. I heard Willie Miller on the radio when I was coming back from the entertainment at Rugby Park, and he was praising the guy. And Dundee, I felt sorry for, because they actually could have possibly got one or two other goals. There was lots of instances when the ball's really pinging about, and another day it would have fallen to somebody and gone in. And so Aberdeen looked better, but I think you're absolutely right, Reagan. If you were an Aberdeen fan and you were told, yeah, this is where you're going to be, you would bite, particularly after last season when, let's be honest, they weren't very good. And they're the only team that's, I think, scored at Parkhead this year in the league.
Yeah, 2 goals as well.
So,
see what you're saying there about Alistair, about biting people's hand off? That's something that's always triggered me. I mean, who actually come up with this saying, I would bite your hand off? Is anybody actually bite somebody's hand off for football.
Well, Mike Tyson bit somebody's ear off, so let's finish off with the women's games today. If you're a big Spartan fan, you'll be happy because they beat Dundee United 6-1 today. Hearts beat Inform Queen's Park 3-0. Monclose and Hibs are just kicking off as we speak. Motherwell and Aberdeen is kicking off roundabout now, and Packet Thistle against Rangers is a 4 kickoff. Okay, guys, that's for all your comments today. We'll be doing it again on Tuesday night for the old Bayern Munich Celtic games. That's good, Alaska and Reagan's. That's got all your comments, and we will see you soon here on the Locker Room.
The Locker Room, with all the sports news you need, live